with having to fight and and being able to at least to defend and to fight if necessary. Okay, you have actually there were mountain Jews in Kafkaz that had a similar type of culture. They know how to fight. They know how to ride horses. They could swing a sword. They weren't. We have. I'm just giving examples from the Jewish people now. There was a tribe of warriors in Yemen. Okay. In Yemen, the Habani.
Yep.
Okay. They were feared. They were basically the Jedi of that area, because even Muslims came to them to help them mediate between different Muslim tribes in conflict. Because they were respected by all, because they were warriors, and then they had the custom. They had like the long hair and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so also there was the Radnite pirates, but they weren't really pirates, but it was like a clan of like mercenary seafaring Jews. You had these little things, and then of course the Sicarii from the Roman times, right? Which is probably what the Assassins were basically. That was probably the origin of them.
That's where the word assassin comes from.
Well,
hashish. They used to take hashish. That's what they call assassins.
No, that developed later, and that became that was in Persia a little bit later than that time. But I've heard rumors that the origins of that cult had something to do with the Sicarii, who were it was a Jewish gang or it was a Jewish assassination cult where they would use these Sicarii, these curved blades to murder Roman officials in crowds and stuff like that.
I actually watched they did the reenactments of that on
right. So I'm not right. So my point is that I'm not promoting these kind of things. I'm just saying that if you want to learn the lesson, there's a lot of lessons to learn from the Holocaust, but what should be is that everybody should be armed to the teeth. Even little 12-year-old Jewish girls, especially them, should be armed to the teeth.
Well, if you go to if you go to Israel, there's a little town called Maoz Esther, where that's literally what that is. Like 16, 14-year-old Jewish girls were like, some of them are, not all of them. And
okay, based on everything that happened, logically, we should be a martial culture. We should have developed a culture that, but we haven't.
It's gutless.
That's why, and that's why when people say Jews are smart. That's why. Remember earlier, you're like Jews are smart, and I went off on you.
Yeah.
That's the reason why. That's what gets me. We're not smart. We don't learn our lessons.
Yeah.
Just repeat the same stupid patterns over and over again. Which actually brings me to I'm looking, as I said that, I'm looking at these notes that I have from a lecture by Rabbi Abba Wagensberg. And it's about Parshas Toldot, because we've been talking about this Esav and Yaakov theme for a while now, right?
Yeah.
And the lecture is called Patterns in Jewish History.
Yeah.
That's actually Kabbalistic patterns in Jewish history.
Yeah.
And I was curious to see, before we went into this darkness is spreading. Right?
Darkness, brothers.
Yeah. We went we went dark. And we promised not to go dark. And we're going to drink the Merlot. If the girls want to drink the Merlot.
Don't go to the dark side on me.
Right. We can't go to the dark side on our...
We're not going to have any Merlot.
We can't go to the dark side on Alexander and Denise. We can't do that, okay?
Yeah.
And if they want to drink Merlot, we're going to drink Merlot.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see, I don't know how you feel about it. I have a couple of pages here of notes, and it's astonishing. Are you surfing?
I'm not surfing. I'm trying to put up for people this community of these girls that I talked about.
I can't hear you. I don't know what that is.
I said, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I wanted to put up for people the video of the community of the girls that I spoke about.
Oh, okay. Okay. I got you.
Yeah. Anyway, no, go on. I'm listening.
Oh, I can't. It sounds like a tidal wave is washing you away, and it's making me sad.
Really? I feel like you're muffled a little bit. Your phone.
I'm the one that's muffled?
Yeah, I think so. A little bit.
You sound like you're filming at the. I don't know. It sounds like you're on a sailboat, man.
Maybe it's because I'm far away from the computer. Because I'm like in bed. Is it better now?
Yeah, it's quiet. I mean, I couldn't,
Okay.
I couldn't hear it all.
Okay, better now?
Yeah, it's good. Can you hear me?
Yes, I heard you perfectly.
Okay. All right. So I don't know if you'd be interested in that, but it's actually it's amazing.
Yeah, please.
It's astonishing. And then I actually had something prepared for Joseph because this is episode 17, and we might want to get to that. We could be ambitious and try to fill this whole.
I really still do want to get to the bottom of like this. What my original question was.
Why don't people understand the?
Yeah, why are they stuck on the end point? Like, what makes like? There's got to be some. It can't just be like people don't have education, and there's got to be some other. I don't know. It's really dumbfounding. It's like a third rail you can't even touch. You know.
Maybe through the course of learning this Torah, something it'll spark something.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I can't picture it.
Like
but
you can't even post video of that Vera Sharav woman who talks about she's a survivor, and she's saying this is exactly the lead up to and you can't even get people to listen to her.
I don't know. I think it's just where we're holding in history. I mean, people have. We criticize the people from Europe, the Ashkenazim, for not doing the right things, but I think we're worse than them. I think they were way more logical than us. I think we would have fared much worse in their situation than they did, unfortunately. So that's why, and because they were forced into the gas chambers, our generation's going willingly.
Yeah, well, they were forced, but also people at that time also didn't were warned and didn't understand what was going on. They didn't understand.
I mean, they had much more. Dude, they didn't have any communications. They lived in villages where, they had way more excuses, not to see the signs than we did. Yeah. Everybody has freaking. Can you imagine? Like they had Twitter at that time. Probably, whatever. Not Twitter, Twitter.
What is it?
Yeah. So, I borrowed that term from Tommy Robinson.
Yeah.
Hopefully, saying that name won't get you suspended.
I'm telling you, it's really.
Okay, so shall I begin?
Yeah, I'm listening.
All right. Okay, so this is by Rabbi Abba Wagensberg. Very nice guy. This is on Parshat Toldot, and it's called Kabbalistic Patterns in Jewish History. Okay. So the question is, how could Yaakov grab hold of Esav's heel? If you recall, it says that they were born with Yaakov holding on to Esav's heel, right? Mm-hmm. So he's saying that this is an odd question if we're talking about infants being born, but since the Torah phrases it like this, it must represent a higher reality. The Chida is a famous commentator and Kabbalist. He was quoting the Arizal. He says that the soul of Rabbi Akiva was buried in the heel, in the soul of Esav. The soul of Rabbi Akiva was buried in the soul of Esav. Get it? He was doing a play on words, like the S-O-U-L of Rabbi Akiva was buried in the S-O-L-E of Esav.
Yes.
He made a point of that. I wanted to make sure that that came across. Okay. He's a cute guy. He's nice. I recommend people check him out.
I'm looking him up now. He's one of these Aish rabbis.
He's one of the Aish rabbis.
Yeah,
he has a really good energy. There's a really clean aura, actually.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
a lot of these rabbis.
So he's a good man. So so Yaakov, what was he trying to do? He was trying to rescue a soul which fell to a low, dark place.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the heel represents a low, dark place. Okay, so we're talking about the soul of Esav that fell from Tohu, from the high spiritual worlds of Tohu, from a very, very high level, much higher than almost everyone. So that's he's saying, that he's correlating that to the heel. The heel is like the lowest. If you use the human form as the model for everything, then the highest would be the crown of the head, right? And then the lowest would be the heel. Okay, so Yaakov was trying to rescue a soul which fell to a low, dark place. The heel represents a low, dark place. Mm-hmm. So this soul / Rabbi Akiva went to this place in an attempt to elevate Esav and bring him closer to Hashem. Mm-hmm. But Yaakov was considered that Esav would damage Rabbi Akiva. Yaakov was concerned that Esav would damage Rabbi Akiva more than Rabbi Akiva could help Esav. Okay? So we're talking about these consciousnesses as they're in the womb. They're conscious of everything. Okay. So in a different place, the Arizal says that the soul of Rabbi Akiva had broken off the larger soul of Yaakov. He was a spark that shot off of Yaakov. Mm-hmm. I always picture I've heard things like that before. So if you could think about like a meteor, right? Like an asteroid or a meteor flying through, or a comet flying in space. And it's never just like one giant rock. It's always like a giant rock followed by a trail of smaller rocks. Mm-hmm. And they kind of fly like a meteor, like armada. And those rocks, those little rocks that are trailing behind the big rock, they were part of the big rock before. And then they broke off somehow, probably because of the sun. Yeah. They might have, whatever. It was part of what was keeping them together was water ice. And then when they passed the sun, it kind of melted the ice. And so some of the rocks, the loose debris, broke off of the main piece, but it was still traveling together with it. So these soul sparks, like this description of what happened, that the spark that was found in the heel of Esav was a spark that broke off of the main soul of Yaakov. Yeah. Okay, so basically, again, he says the soul of Rabbi Akiva had broken off the larger soul of Yaakov, the spark that shot off of Yaakov. Okay, so in Parshat Vayehi, in chapter 49, verse 24, Yaakov blesses Yosef. And he says, Midei Avir Yaakov Mishom Hu Ro'eh Even Yisrael, which means from the hands of mighty Yaakov. From there, he shepherded the stone of Israel. Mm-hmm. So the Arizal focuses on the words Avir Yaakov. Mm-hmm. Right? So Avir means mighty, right? Like a Avir is Aleph.
Not Avir.
Yeah.
Avir Yaakov is also the grandfather or the great grandfather of Baba Sali.
Okay, but let's see what he says here.
Yeah.
Avir. So Avir is spelled Aleph, Bet, Yud, Resh.
Yes. Yahoo.
Apparently, Abir was the name of the Chacham or the Rab for the Chabani, the Yemenites.
Yeah, so he was. It's interesting because this guy was Moroccan. So He was Yaakov of Buchadzera.
Yep.
Yaakov.
So Abir Yaakov, yeah. So what is it? So what is the Arizal trying to say? The Arizal focuses on the words Abir Yaakov. Okay, so Abir is, again, it's Aleph Bet Yud Resh, and Yaakov in the standard spelling. Okay, and so when taken with the spelling of Yaakov, if they are unscrambled and then recombined, Abir Yaakov turns into Rabbi Akiva. It's a permutation of Rabbi Akiva. Okay, so how does that connect? So it says the mighty Yaakov, or the might that comes from Yaakov's hands, is Rabbi Akiva. That's one of the meanings of that verse, 49, chapter 49, verse 24, in Genesis, in Bereshit.
Yeah.
Is that clear, or is that too like? Okay, so there's another commentator, which I don't know if I got his name right. I think it's the Shrivi Pinchas. Okay, so it says that it's not arbitrary that Yaakov grabbed a hold of Esav's heel, for he wanted to rescue himself from Esav, a spark of himself. He wanted to extract it out of the heel. The Arizal adds another remez concerning Rabbi Akiva being a nitzotz of Yaakov. The name Akiva, when unscrambled and then recombined, spells Yaakov with an aleph at the end. So Akiva, the letters in Akiva is Yaakov with an aleph at the end.
Yeah.
Are you flying a kite again?
No, I'm listening. I'm not flying
Okay.
a kite at all. I'm listening to everything you're saying.
Sounds like you're flying in a plane and you open the window.
Not at all.
Are you about to jump off the parachute?
Open the window. That's what it sounds like? Whoa.
You don't hear that?
No. I mean, I hear, it's my computer cranking. Like, no. It's my computer is working.
Your computer is cranky. Wow.
Yeah,
Sounds
I
pretty.
don't
All right.
know why. I don't know. Sometimes Macs, they kind of. Let me see what it's cranking actually.
That's crazy. All right, I'll try to. If I sound like I'm screaming, it's because I sound like I'm
it's
on a
fine.
boat.
I can hear you perfectly. So can everyone else.
All right, so
Yeah.
look back. Okay, so again, so the Arizal adds another remez concerning Rabbi. What was that?
No, I'm not thinking about the phone. Just hold on.
Okay.
It's all good.
All right, cool. So Rabbi Akiva adds another remez concerning. I'm sorry. So the Arizal adds another remez about Rabbi Akiva being a nitzotz, a spark. By the way, remez means an illusion or a hint. Okay, so the name Akiva, when unscrambled and recombined, spells Yaakov with the letter Aleph at the end. And the Aleph stands for Avinu. Okay. So there's a lot of hints about Rabbi Akiva and Yaakov. There's a lot of connections. But okay, so the Arizal finds that Yaakov and Rabbi Akiva, they lead parallel lives. This is awesome. So Yaakov was a shepherd of his father-in-law's flocks. Rabbi Akiva was a caretaker of his father-in-law's cattle. He started out as a cattle rustler. Yaakov Avinu married 2 women. Rabbi Akiva married 2 women.
Wait, who did Akiva marry?
We're going to get to it.
There's Rachel, and then there was.
Yeah. So Rabbi Akiva's first wife was Rachel, and and Rachel's father's name was Kalva Savua.
Yeah, Kalva Savua.
Yes, Kalva Savua means the satiated dog.
Satiated dog, yeah.
Satiated dog. It was a nickname that he was given because he was a rich man and he was very generous, and people came to him like hungry, hungry homeless dogs, and he fed them. Yeah. So maybe he also fed hungry dogs too. But that's likely. Okay, so You know, there was a story in the Gemara. I wish I could remember where there was a dog that saved someone's life, and then he was given the seat of honor next to one of the Tanaim on Shabbos. It was like this amazing story, but I'll find that and we'll get back to that. But anyway, so basically, Rabbi Akiva's second wife was the former wife of Tortus Rufus, the Russia. Okay, her name was Rufina. I think. I mean, that's how they're referred to. She's referred to as Rufina. Okay, I think. Okay, now she corresponds to Leah. Tortus Rufus was the Roman governor in Israel at that time, and he therefore has a connection to Edom and to Esau, obviously. Leah was supposed to be the wife of Esau. Had he, if he didn't ended up rotten, she would have married him.
Yeah.
But she ended up with Yaakov, right? Mm-hmm. So Tortus Rufus, so he was a very intelligent man, and so throughout the Midrashim, he had many good questions against the Torah. But every time he would debate Rabbi Akiva, he would come home with his spirits down because he could never win a debate with Rabbi Akiva. Yeah. And then Rufina saw him come home like this, and she inquired what made him so upset. Yeah. After hearing what happened, meaning, Rabbi Akiva just kept destroying him in discussions. So after hearing this, she devised a plan to get revenge on Rabbi Akiva. She told Tortus that the God of the Jews hates immorality. She knew that somehow. So she's going to seduce Rabbi Akiva and cause him to be immoral, with the goal of perhaps showing him to be a hypocrite, or thinking that the Jewish God will take vengeance upon Rabbi Akiva. Also, by the fact that he was the leader of the nation, that wouldn't have a good effect on the Jewish people. He was the Rebbe of his time. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so Rufina, after she tries to seduce him, she's very impressed with Rabbi Akiva because she was unsuccessful, and she was one of the most beautiful women in the world, and she was so impressed with Rabbi Akiva's ability to resist her that she ended up, a while later, she got very interested in Judaism, and then she got interested in converting. She ended up leaving Tortus Rufus, and she married Rabbi Akiva.
Well, he was a tortoise.
I'm sorry?
No, I said he was a tortoise.
He was a tortoise.
Too slow.
He was a little bit too slow. Yeah. So it's a very crazy story, by the way. That story when she tried to seduce him. Mm-hmm. If I'm not mistaken, it went something like this. So she put on some kind of crazy, like Victoria's Secret stuff, right? Some see-through whatever. They had stuff like that for a long time, and some Cleopatra stuff, right? So, and she was like, she was hiding somewhere, because Rabbi Akiva, he would come to Tortus Rufus's, palace or his villa or whatever, huge place, to debate with him and have discussions. Mm-hmm. Political stuff too, not just discussions. Yeah. And so on his way out, she was like hiding behind one of the pillars in that giant villa, wearing her little whatever. Mm-hmm. And then she tried, she came out and she tried to seduce him, and she was very seductive. Yeah. And then, so this is Rabbi Akiva's reaction, okay? First he spit on the floor. Like, he didn't spit on her, obviously.
Some of these rabbis in the Gemara, they were like really, in Russian we say grubые такие.
No, dude. No.
Really?
That's totally wrong.
It's a misnomer. So.
It's completely, the stuff that you're talking about, there's a concept, it's called the Torah. No, it's called the Torah in exile.
Yeah.
The Leshem talks about it. So that's called Agadata.
Yeah.
Agadata is called the Torah in exile because all the secrets, all the most sublime secrets, are encoded within those sections of the Gemara.
Yeah.
And the reason it's called the Torah in exile is because it's the stories that you read offend the sensibilities. Like any normal person would be like, what the F is this?
Yeah, these guys are whack.
This is disgusting. This is, so it's well understood. For people who have the code, what do you call the cipher? The cipher is what breaks the code, right?
Yeah.
You got to understand what is really going on there and why the Torah went into exile. Because of the golden calf situation. But we'll get to that another time. So let me finish the story.
Yeah.
So Rabbi Akiva, he spits in disgust. He's like, "Puh," on the side. He didn't spit on her, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the second thing he does is he begins crying hysterically. Hysterically, and she's like, she's shocked. And then he stops crying and then begins laughing like insanely. Or I'm not sure if he cried first and then laughed or laughed and then cried. I don't remember that order. I think he might have cried, actually. No. So basically, I think he laughed. He cried first and then he laughed. Okay, so he spit, he cried hysterically, and then laughed like a madman.
Yeah.
Okay?
Sounds like
what she was... Say again?
Sounds schizo.
Okay, so she asked him, I don't know if he explained to her right then and there or at some later time, why he reacted like that, right? So he said, well, okay, I spit in disgust because of your horrible behavior. Okay, it's not you, it's your behavior, it's this evil intent and behavior that made me disgusted.
And in this particular case, the woman somehow was able to finally, not finally, but actually separate the words "you're being this" versus "you are this."
Correct.
You know how women, they're like, "You call me stupid." No, you're acting stupid. You're actually not. You're acting out of character. You're acting stupid.
It's your behavior. That's all.
You call me stupid.
Right.
I'm telling you, dude. It's
okay. I think every guy is aware of this.
Yeah.
So, okay, all right. So he's about to explain to her why. All right, he explained to her why he spit in disgust.
Yeah.
So and then she said, "Well, why did you begin, crying hysterically?"
Yeah.
Because I had a vision of you in the future, of you dead in the coffin, and such a beautiful form to not be alive, to be rotting dead in the coffin, made me so sad that I couldn't take it, because she was a vision. She really was. She was something else, apparently. I don't know. I wasn't there, but I'll take their word for it. Okay? And obviously, there's more to it than just her physical form. This is a Agadata that we're reading right now, right?
Yeah.
This is not to be taken literally. Okay.
So she wasn't a butterface, is what you're saying.
She wasn't a what?
A butterface.
She wasn't a butterface either physically or spiritually. Okay? All right.
It's terrible. We're going down like...
No, it's okay. We're having a discussion.
Yeah.
All right. But we're trying to keep, because this is episode 17, and 17 is told.
Yeah. Everything's told.
Okay. It's told. Everything's told.
It's all good.
All right. It's all good. All right. So now we understand why he was crying hysterically. I would cry hysterically too.
Yeah.
Terrible vision. And then finally, well, why were you laughing? He goes, that I can't tell you. But later on, it turned out the reason was that he saw that they were going to be married. So this Agadata, this little story right here, has so much packed into it that we can't. It's unbelievable. But that wasn't even in my notes. I heard that elsewhere. I just wanted to continue. Yeah. So I'm going to get back on track. Okay?
Yeah.
last thing we said was.
Right.
Oh, hold on a second. There it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, Rabbi Akiva had so impressed her that she ended up leaving Tortoise, converted to Judaism, and ends up marrying Rabbi Akiva.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in the Gemara Yevamot, that's one of the volumes of the Talmud, on page 63, on the A side, it says that Rabbi Akiva's wife, Rachel, sent Rabbi Akiva, she sent him away to learn Torah, and 24 years later, he returned with 24,000 students. Upon his return, a crowd assembled around Rabbi Akiva, and his wife, whom has been living in poverty, tries to make her way through the crowd. And she's prevented by his students to reach Rabbi Akiva because she is not recognized by them. When seeing this, Rabbi Akiva says to his students that all the Torah that they have learned, all of it, meaning Rabbi Akiva and his students, is all owned by her.
Are you sure it's in Yevamot 63a, you said?
Yeah.
I'm looking for it. It's
Now, this is also Agadata, by the way. Okay. So it's because of her sacrifice that they were able to learn. When Rabbi Akiva came back to his wife, they had a daughter. And this daughter married another huge rabbi, famous Rabbi Ben Azai. Okay? So, let's see, it says the daughter, Ben Azai. So the daughter, Rabbi Akiva's daughter, also she sent Ben Azai away to learn Torah, just as her mother did for her father. So this is where the popular quote. The popular quote comes from. A you will always follow a you. Right? So a ewe is a female sheep. In Aramaic and Hebrew, a ewe is a rachila.
E-W-E.
Yeah, a ewe, a female sheep. And in Aramaic, it's rachila. Right? So, so rachila, again, that's Rachel. Right? It sounds like Rachel is actually, in Hebrew too, it's also the word for sheep.
Yeah.
All right. Now, the next section of this, he quotes that pasuk, and the children struggled within her. The word struggle in Hebrew, or the root of the word for struggle, means ruts, which means to run. Okay, it's related to the root of the word, roots, to run. Okay, when Rivka passed by a house of Torah, Yaakov stirred in her womb. When she walked by a place of idol worship, Esav stirred, or he ran. That's the word that was used. The stirring. Okay, the running. Okay. Now Rivka inquired to Shem about this. She went to Shem, Melchizedek.
Yeah.
She went to the yeshiva Shem Be'ever, as many people did. So the Shvidi Pinchas explains that she had two questions. The first one was, why would holy Yitzhak and Rivka be made to produce an evil Esav? Okay? And number two, she sensed that Esav was stronger than Yaakov, and she sensed that Esav might therefore push his way out first and claim the birthright. And why would Hashem do this? Okay? So, now, in the Ten Commandments, it says, honor your father and your mother. In the Hebrew, there's an extra vav. Okay? The Gemara in Ketuvot,
Extra vav, where
in that
Kibud.
somewhere in that sentence,
Kibud Abayim probably.
Kibud Abayim, there's a vav that you wouldn't normally see under normal circumstances in a sentence structure like that. In that pasuk. In that, we could look it up. So the Gemara in Ketuvim on page 103a says that the extra vav comes to teach us to also respect an older sibling. Wonder why? After having these questions, she came to understand through divine inspiration, through prophecy, because Rivka was a prophet, okay, that Rabbi Akiva's soul is buried in Esav's foot, and that Yaakov was going to succeed at extracting the spark of Rabbi Akiva. Rivka answered her own questions, so she comforted herself about Esav, that something good is connected to him being born. Through his coming into the world will result in the elevation of Rabbi Akiva's soul out of Esav. And she told herself that Yaakov is born second so that he would have the opportunity to grab hold of Esav's heel to extract Rabbi Akiva. But he may never have another opportunity after they are born. I'm not sure what he means by that, but okay. So Rabbi Akiva explains, or he darshans, on Vayetana, where it says, Et Hashem Elokecha Tira. God commanded us to fear him, to respect him. Rabbi Akiva says that every et, Aleph Tav, in the Torah teaches something. This et, there's no English translation for that, by the way. You have to,
because there's no, what is it? A friend of mine explained to me that Hebrew is an existential language. So in an existential language, you don't need this. You don't need things like, well, you have the, but really not really.
It's a direct article. It's used.
You don't have these like. That's why when people talk about, they have the gender also, but they talk about in Hebrew when they mention, like they don't have it. They don't have that stuff. That's why when they speak in English, they directly translate and they use the wrong. It sound like articles. The wrong gender, whatever it is, because they don't have this it thing, or is. They don't have is.
Right. Okay. Okay. So the pasuk in Vayethanan again is Et Hashem Elokecha Tira, which means God commanded us to fear him, to respect him. So. Again, Rabbi Akiva said that every et, every Aleph Tav in the Torah teaches something. This et teaches us to include Talmidei Chachamim. So it doesn't explain how, but each one is different. It's actually amazing. So therefore, Yaakov, the Torah scholar, is exempt, and he has special in having any special respect for Esav. Because respecting a Torah scholar overrides respecting an older sibling. Remember, we're talking about Torah law. There are laws that have to be followed. It's not just suggestions or moral suggestions or whatever. There's law that says when a person, a senior citizen, enters the room, you have to stand up for him. There's when a Torah scholar, a true established Torah scholar, not just anybody with whatever. Like these Mickey Mouse, supposed rabbis that we have now. An actual, true Torah scholar he is looked upon as a living Torah scroll. And you have to stand up for the Torah. So you stand up for the Torah that this rabbi contains within him and is able to teach. Okay. So these are laws. So, this discussion is important because, we're deriving a law here. Okay? So, again, that extra et that we just read about, this particular et, means that it teaches us that a Torah scholar overrides an older sibling. Okay, so if you have two siblings and one of them is older, but this younger one becomes a Torah scholar, then he doesn't have to rise for his older brother anymore. Mm-hmm. This is a whole separate discussion. It seems kind of petty. It's actually very important.
Yeah.
I wanted to just say something. So, what is this? We're having this discussion about, the souls, the consciousnesses of Rabbi of Yaakov and Esav. So Yaakov and Esav are called sometimes oversouls. Okay, and we're all fractals. We're all bits.
Oversouls.
Oversouls, right?
Interesting.
Okay, which are like, okay, so Adam is the main soul, right? He's the entire soul, mm-hmm. And then he has like a certain amount of like roots, like think about like limbs, right? Like Adam's right arm is Hevel, and the left arm is Cain, and then but each limb has its own entire body, right? Yeah. And so it keeps going like that fractally. So this generation of people, all of us, are like little tiny bitty itty bitty little, like specks of these oversouls. Yeah. Okay, so that's let's put that to the side for a minute. But what's interesting is that these souls, these consciousnesses, have extremely ancient histories, and they have history, and they know each other, and they've been dealing with each other for a long time, and they travel from generation to generation, from one incarnation to another incarnation, and they're conscious of all of the different incarnations that they've been, and the running story between them.
Interesting.
There's two movies that come to mind. What was that?
I said, or the pattern.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But there's two movies, right, that come to mind, mm-hmm. that you might have seen these two movies. Mm-hmm. Actually, no, there's one movie and one TV show. Mm-hmm. So the movie, I forgot the name of the movie, but it's the guy who played, he was like the main character in Twin Peaks. Like the FBI agent. And then like he was later on, I think he played in Sex and the City. You know what I'm talking about? He was the federal agent that was sent to investigate what was going on in Twin Peaks. You familiar with that? Oh man, I wish I could. You there, dude?
Yeah, I'm here.
Fell asleep again?
No.
Ready got you? No? Yeah. Okay, so this guy, I forgot his name, but the two people listening probably know who I'm talking about. 4 people. Okay? All right. So he in this movie, he played, so you have these aliens, right? Mm-hmm. And they can inhabit different forms. Okay? And one of the aliens in the movie is a cop. Mm. And the other one is a criminal, a fugitive. Mm-hmm. And it's not clear how long the cop has been pursuing the fugitive. And they've been going from world to world, inhabiting different lives, mm-hmm. different forms. And I think it seems that the cop has been tracking this guy for could be like, a couple of million years, mm-hmm. from the way we experience time.
It sounds like Highlander.
It's kind of, it could be, but these aliens were like the cop was, I don't think, the same species as the fugitive. The cop was like this kind of like glowing energy, mm-hmm. which kind of, because you saw him, because he could give it over to someone else. You understand? And when it like came out of his mouth, it's like light that came out of his mouth, and and the fugitive was like this kind of like weird worm, that could just like inhabit somebody else's body or something like that. It was like a parasite.
Yeah.
I don't know. So that's obviously this is not a perfect metaphor, but this situation with the soul of Yaakov and the soul of Esav, it seems like there's been something going on for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay, and what this part that we're reading about is just one of the relatively recent incarnations of this situation here. These beings, these individuals, and they remember everything. I mean, they know what's going on. I just wanted to take that sidebar. And there was a show also. It was called Roswell. I don't know if you remember. You ever see it?
Yes, I did.
So they were reborn. They were these aliens, and they were reborn as human children, right? But then they started remembering everything that happened from their world.
Yeah.
Somehow it carried over, whatever. But now they're in a different form. That's a similar idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on. Do you want to take a break from this, or we're going good?
No, we're good.
We're going good. All right. Okay. Now, this commentator, Shvidi Pinchas, says that Hashem orchestrated this whole thing to show us something important. If Yaakov's children become Torah scholars, then Esav's children will be obligated to respect us. If we do not do so, then Esav will not respect us and subjugate us. When Rivka was troubled by the stirring, she went to Shem to ask. Right? She went to ask of Hashem. That's actually the quote. She went to ask of Hashem. So the wording was et Hashem. Okay? Yeah. And so that was her answer.
Yeah.
Okay. Looks like that. Okay.
Interesting.
Right. Now, okay, so
now the question is, what does this have to do with
Rabbi Akiva?
Well, my original question.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Or does it have nothing to do with it?
No, I mean, I'm sure it does, but let's see.
I mean, I suspect that it's just, again, Amalek's effect. Amalek is part of it. Amalek is working to confuse people, and to make them misunderstand what's really going on.
Right.
That's it. I don't know what else to say.
Well, let's see. There's more.
Okay.
So after Rabbi Akiva was extracted from the heel of Esav, he jumped into Shechem and Hamor. I seem to have skipped ahead. My notes were not. I apologize. Just give me one moment. Can you turn on some elevator music while we're waiting for me to get my shit together? Hold on. So also the first one is.
Remember Naked Music?
That does sound familiar. I don't know.
Like Miguel Miggs and stuff.
I think so.
Yeah.
So damn, dude. So,
what the hell just happened? What the flip? The computer just went dark. Why did it go dark? Nobody knows. Hello? My computer went darkness. Speaking of darkness. Hello? What the hell? Hans Blitz. What just happened? Uh-oh. Right. So, yeah.
Okay. So, alright, we'll see.
Give me a second, I'll just plug it in. Oops. That's very strange. Why would that happen? Okay.
Oh.
Close.
Okay, so
What? Yeah, my computer just went like death to switching there, right? And now for commercial break. You know what? I gotta restart this thing. Water boy. Come on, man. There we go. Okay. And we're sort of back. Yes, we are.
Did you retrieve some of it?
Hold on. Let me see if the first hour or 50 minutes, whatever, was at least salvaged. And it looks like that it was. Okay, good. Alright, the 50 minutes were salvaged. Good. I could at least, I'll probably extract the audio from that. Alright, thank God. Praise the Lord. All
Okay.
right. That's what I
Okay,
get.
so we were
That's what I get for like looking up music. Anywho, oh, they just write to our people. We are back.
Are we back now?
Okay. Cool. Fantastic. Oh, I see you now. The sound is on. All right, fantastic. All right, cool. So you were saying?
Greg, tell me, what was that? What was the last thing I said?
We're
talking.
You were talking about.
Basically, we were talking about the soul of Rabbi Akiva
Yes.
being embedded in the heel
Yeah.
of Esav,
Yeah.
and then when they were born, Yaakov was holding on to the heel of Esav, trying to extract that spark.
Yeah. And then you said,
Okay,
hold on a second and play elevator music, and I was trying to call up the elevator music, and the computer just went ape poop. Ape poop. I mean, poop of apes.
Okay. So, damn it. Yeah. So tell me when when should I begin?
Oh my God. Yo.
What?
Oh my God.
What, man?
Rabbi Alon Anava just released a video. It's 3.5 hours long as an in-depth lecture by Rabbi Anava about the parallel details of biblical prophecies before the coming of Mashiach and Agenda 2030. It's called What is Waiting for Us Before the Coming of Mashiach. Current events clash with biblical prophecies. Holy poopskates. Oh my God. What do you think about this?
I feel like I should know more about what you said, and I don't.
He's said a lot of stuff that he's on board with our stuff, man, in terms of everything. And he's, you know what stuff he's been saying.
I actually don't.
He's been talking about this is yo man, he's all about the whole Citraka stuff, and I don't even want to say, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think I'm somewhat familiar with it.
Like that they're all evil and the whole all these people, the people that you keep mentioning, Klaus Schwab and all that stuff. But he goes deeper than that. Dude, tomorrow I'm gonna watch this. Oh my gosh. If it doesn't get taken down, hopefully it won't.
Dude, you scared me, by the way. You're
I'm sorry. I just saw it in my what's it called? In my feed. Wow. You know what? I'm gonna download this in case they might just you want to talk about the Citraka. This guy is like target number 1 through 10. Anyway, sorry. I got excited there for a second.
Okay, so kind of lost the order of my notes, but just to give you kind of like a very like I'm going to jump around a little bit, but just to give you a main overview.
Jump around.
So Rabbi Akiva, he's first embedded in the heel of Esav.
Mm-hmm.
Then when he's extracted, he ends up in Shechem ben Hamor. That's soul spark. Okay? So he's extracted after he had the meeting, after Yaakov had the meeting with Esav.
Mm-hmm.
After they reunited. Remember when they hugged each other, right?
Yeah.
That extracted that whole thing somehow extracted that spark.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it has anything to do with that 26 that we were talking about. But that's we won't, we'll and then after that, that spark, by the way, that spark traveled with a bunch of little sparks. Mm-hmm. We'll get to that in a second. Okay? Yeah. So that even that little spark was like a giant meteor that was traveling with a bunch of smaller sparks. Mm-hmm. 24,000, actually. Yeah. That number should kind of, wake you up right away. Yeah. So, and then after Shechem ben Hamor was extracted, when those sparks were extracted from Shechem ben Hamor and his men, okay, the next time they manifested was with Zimri and the 24,000 men of Shimon.
Zimri and Bill Cosby?
Yeah. And then after that, they manifested one more time. Mm-hmm. As Rabbi Akiva, finally, and his 24,000 students. Mm-hmm. So let me see if I can. Okay, so now after Rabbi Akiva was extracted from the heel of Esav, he jumped into Shechem ben Hamor. Okay, like we said, and it seems like Rabbi Akiva, his intent was on elevating the darkest souls. He definitely didn't go to Lavan, and we'll go to that for a different reason. Everybody was scared of Lavan. One of the reasons why Yaakov went to Lavan is because he knew Esav wouldn't follow him there. Because even Esav didn't want to deal with Lavan.
Interesting. So it's almost like you watch those mafia movies. They didn't, like even the scumbag didn't want to deal with the boss. It's like Solozo, Solozo didn't want to deal with. They don't want to deal with Corleone.
He didn't want to deal. Which Godfather are we talking about?
I guess it's 2.
When
they're proposing him to. It's either 2 or 1. Were they proposing him to do deal drugs, to go to like the next phase of whatever, and he's like, I don't do that stuff, man. It's the one thing I don't do. So they were like, all right, this guy's not gonna play ball, so now we're gonna like wipe out his dudes. They went to war against him,
Yeah.
Anyway.
Terrible what they did to Sonny. Terrible. Anyway, we'll get back to that another time.
It's terrible what they did to Sonny. The Brazilian.
We gotta go to the mattress.
You gotta send them a horse.
On the Seder. All right, here we go.
Sorry.
All right. So, okay, now, after Rabbi Akiva was extracted from the heel of Esav, he jumped into Shechem ben Hamor. Yeah. And it seems like Rabbi Akiva is intent on elevating the darkest souls. Yeah. So in Gemara Pesachim, that's one of the volumes of the Talmud called Pesachim. On page 49, on the B side, Rabbi Akiva said to his students, when I was in Am Haaretz, I hated Torah scholars. Mm-hmm. So much so that I used to say, bring me a Torah scholar and I will bite him like a donkey, like a hamor.
Yeah, because a donkey crushes your bones.
Okay. And also, for people who may not know, Rabbi Akiva was a non-scholar. He was a cowboy until he was 40 years old.
Yeah.
And he didn't know anything. He was completely ignorant, and then decided to dedicate his life to the study of Torah at the age of 40.
So basically, the only way I'm going to get a shit up is if I become like him.
Basically, I was thinking that earlier. I didn't want to say.
We had the whole discussion about this, about things that I have to do.
Yeah, I think we came to a good conclusion.
Or not do.
Or not do. Do, not do. There's always a list of things to do and not to do. Okay? All right, back to the text. If you still want to do this.
It's all good. Yeah.
Okay. It's like not finishing a lecture like this is like getting half a haircut. It's awful.
Yeah.
All right. So, or like half a shave. You don't want to do that. All right. So Rabbi Akiva's soul is intent on elevating all these dark souls. So in Gemara Pesachim, page 49b, Rabbi Akiva said to his students, when I was, and again, this is Agadita, when I was in Am Haaretz, I hated Torah scholars so much that I used to say, bring me a Torah scholar, and I would bite him like a donkey, like a hamor.
Yeah.
Why a donkey? So there are animals that bite harder, so the donkey is a hint. The donkey, there are animals that bite harder. Why not like a lion? Why not like a pit bull or an elephant or an orca? Why specifically a donkey? Okay, a donkey has a hard bite, but
it crushes your bones.
You got hyenas that have a weight. They knew about hyenas at that time, right? They had hyenas there. Yeah. They got leopards. They got there are things. Jaguars.
Yeah.
They even knew about jaguars.
Yeah.
Even though jaguars are in the Amazon, they knew about it.
Yeah.
All right. So, jaguar has the hardest bite in the world, by the way. Okay. So basically, he chose donkey, hamor, because it was a hint. This is a gadita. He's hinting at something.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, so when he said, when I was in Am Haaretz, meaning way back in time, okay, I was a Ben Hamor. Okay, that's what he said about Ben Hamor. So when Levi and Shimon, in their divine providence, noticed that Rabbi Akiva's soul may get mired by Ben Hamor, they went to extract his soul from Hamor by killing him and the 24,000 souls that travel with that spark that was inhabiting Hamor and his men. Okay? So it seems that in Vayishlach, on chapter 35, verse 1, it says, quote, and God said to Yaakov, arise and go to Bet El, end quote. Okay. So the Maharash of Astropoli, okay, he says that if you take the last 5 words of this pasuk, okay, which is Yaakov Kom Ale Bet El, right? So unscrambled. So hold on a second. When you take, if only I wrote good notes. Okay, so if you take the last 5 words of the pasuk, Yaakov Kom Ale Bet El, okay, so it's Yud Kuf Ayin Bet Aleph. So unscrambled, it spells Akiva. Okay, so can you look up that pasuk? Anyway, do you have a way of looking it up? Vayishlach, chapter 35 in Bereshit, verse 1. Sorry, folks at home. This is
it's giving me all kinds of these the Christian versions.
I'm going to Safari.
Yeah, just go to Safari. You can find it that way. Safari is amazing.
Safari is amazing. Okay, Safari, Tanakh, Genesis.
Well, you could do
35. Got it. Okay. Vayomer Elohim El Yaakov. Okay, so he says, Kum alei beit el. Okay, so he's focusing on those 4 words. Kum. Right, so no, he's focusing on the 5 words. No, so the Maharash of Ashurpoli, he's focusing on the 5 words. That Yaakov Kum alei beit el. Okay, so let's see. So we have Yud, the first. Okay, so look at the first letters of each one of those words. We have the Yud from Yaakov, the Kuf from Kum, the Ayin from Alei, the Bet from Beit, and El. Okay, so we're looking at those, the Rosh Hashanah of those 5 words.
Mm-hmm.
So it spells, unscrambled, it spells Akiva.
Mm. Cool.
Okay, so from that, Yaakov knew what Levi and Shimon did was related to Akiva. So this is apparently right after what happened there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So hold on a second. So Yaakov's in the households and rid yourselves of the. No, this is before. I don't understand how he ties this in. I guess I'm going to have to figure that out myself later.
Yeah.
So the Maharash of Ashurpoli says that if you take the last 5 words of this pasuk, Yaakov Kum Alei Bet El, and scrambled, it spells Akiva.
Yeah.
From that, Yaakov knew what Levi and Shimon did was related to Akiva. What he was going to do.
What verse is this again? 30...
35.
Okay, one second.
No, we're gonna unscramble this. We're gonna. This is madness. Okay, Asa took his wife. Okay, so this is the line of Asa. Okay, so let's go back to 35. Okay.
There you
go. Okay, hold on. Okay, so this talks about like when it describes the birth actually of some of Yaakov's sons in this chapter. Or it actually talks about their names. So while Israel stayed, Reuben went and okay, so hold on. Thus Rachel died. She was buried on the road to Ephrath. But as she breathed her last, she named him Ben-Ami, but his father was called Benjamin, later. Okay, so I'll find out. So somehow this particular pasuk, which happened before the events of Shem, from that interaction, from that verse where God was speaking to Yaakov, telling him to arise and go to Beit El, something about that was encoded, and he knew that Rabbi Akiva was involved with this whole situation. I'm going to look into the commentary of the Maharash of Ashurpoli and get more details on this.
Question.
Yes.
Some viewers asking, is pi and high related?
Is pi and high?
Yeah. I don't quite understand the question.
Maybe. Well, okay, so I think that, pi, the symbol for pi kind of looks like a head.
Yeah.
And the word high is spelled with like a het and a yud.
Yeah.
That's the only connection that I can see.
We can talk about pi next time. That's 18. It's going to be 18.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, I'm still confounded by this whole thing with the people who don't. I'm telling you, it's like some sort of blockage. It's all right.
So let's see. So let's see what happens along the way to Rabbi Akiva's soul.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, again, so these 5 words from chapter 35, verse 1, and God sent said to Yaakov, "Arise and go to Bethel."
Yeah.
Okay, so the Maharash of Ashurpali says if you take the last 5 words of this pasuk, you get Yaakov kum alei Bethel. You get the word Akiva. Okay, so spells Akiva. So from that, apparently Yaakov knew what Levi and Shimon are going to do in relation to Rabbi Akiva. He had a sense of that. So the Yalkut Reuveni, okay, he was a commentator on the Torah. He made a compilation of midrashim, which were Aggadic stories, like Aggadata from the Gemara, from the time of the Tanaim. So the Yalkut Reuveni in Parshat Vayishlach says that there's a rule of thumb that the forces of Tumah cannot stand the side of holiness.
Of course.
Okay? There's a pasuk in Shemot, Shemot in chapter 1, verse 12, I think. It says, the Egyptians vayakutsu b'nei Israel. They were disgusted with b'nei Israel. So that the Yalkut Reuveni asks, what if you find a person from the side of Tumah that desires someone holy? Okay? So you can there's like a really disgusting person who wants to be in a relationship with a holy person.
Yeah.
Could be a disgusting guy who likes a holy girl, or a disgusting girl that likes a holy guy. This is possible. This has happened. Okay, so he's saying what happens if what's going on with that?
Yeah.
So he says that means that person from the side of Tumah must have a spark of holiness trapped inside of them. So the Yalkut Reuveni says that Shechem ben Hamor was such a person. He is low, but he falls madly in love with Dinah. Okay?
Yeah.
So Dinah is holy. Right? And he has almost any woman. Shechem ben Hamor, he was the prince of this Canaanite city.
Yeah.
And he had plenty of groupies. As much as he wanted,
Yep.
And but for some reason he falls in love with Dinah.
Yeah.
So Dinah, so it said Dinah's holy, and he can have almost any woman, these fun chicks, whatever. So it doesn't make sense that he would want Dinah. She's like a Beis Yaakov girl, literally, right? So Yalkut Reuveni says even Ben Hamor couldn't understand his feelings. Like he was confused as to why he was so drawn to her. So in the Gemara, in Brachot, page 61, verse B, the Romans were killing Rabbi Akiva. So Rabbi Akiva dies with the words echad, with the word echad. That was the last word that came out of his mouth. Okay, so the Gemara says, "Fortunate are you, Rabbi Akiva, that your soul left your body with the word echad on your lips." Why is that so important? There's a midrash in Bereshit Rabbah, chapter 80, verse 7, says Reish Lakish makes an observation in the whole story of Shechem by the use of 3 expressions of love towards Dinah. The first is ahava, love. The second is chachitza, desire. And the third is devika, which means attachment. Okay, so you'll find these 3 terms in Vayishlach, in Genesis chapter 34, verse 3, chapter 34. Devika,
Yeah.
I think that's
related.
yeah. So 34, chapter 34, verse 3, chapter 34, verse 19, and chapter 34, verse 3 again, I suppose. So these 3 expressions of love, right, were not coming from such a holy place, because these were things that these were statements. They were all statements from Shechem ben Hamor.
Yeah.
Okay, So these statements, they were not coming from such a holy place because he was a filthy, disgusting, low-life animal.
Yeah.
But that aside, you know, but at the same time, within Shem, there was the soul of Rabbi Akiva. So Rabbi Akiva, when you know, living in his own life, he worked on rectifying these three expressions of love. Okay, he remembered his incarnation. He remembered the struggle that he had, struggling with the animal soul of Shem ben Hamor. Right, he remembered those feelings that he experienced. So he wanted to rectify that. He didn't successfully rectify that while he was in Shem ben Hamor. Remember, Rabbi Akiva was a very ambitious guy, but so he didn't succeed. But during his own life, when he was finally incarnated as Rabbi Akiva, he wanted to rectify those things. Okay, those three expressions of love. So by channeling them to the love of God. Okay, now these three expressions. Again, we have Ahava, which starts with an Aleph. Chafitza, which starts with a Het. Okay, so again, Ahava is love, starts with an Aleph. Chafitza means desire, and that starts with a Het. And Devika, it means attachment, cleaving to, and that starts with a Dalet. So that would be the word Echad, which is the last word of Rabbi Akiva's life.
Yeah.
Okay. So when he died, Rabbi Akiva said, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. God is one. So with that statement, he rectified those three expressions that he felt towards Dina. Okay. When he was Shem ben Hamor. Okay, so that's pretty serious. Okay, so hold on a second. You still with me? You still good? You're not sleeping yet?
No.
Okay, so we have so Chafitza, right? So Ahava, Chafitza, Devika. Okay, now Shimon Hamisumi, he was a Tana. He spent his life expounding on every single et in the Torah. Okay? And he was successful until he got to the et in Parshat Vayetchana, where it says, quote, Et Hashem Elokecha Tira. We heard this already before. Okay? I mean, this pasuk was quoted before. Okay? Which means like you shall fear you shall respect God. Okay. So because he couldn't figure it out, he was prepared to throw away his entire thesis. Right? He had every other et, but this one he couldn't get. So because he couldn't figure it out, he felt that was a fatal flaw, and that all the rest of his understanding of the ets was also flawed. Right? It was like a formula, and it had to equal out. So, okay. And he was about to throw it away, okay? And because he thought it was faulty. Now, Rabbi Akiva stopped him, and he explained to him that the last et, right? He explained to him what this last et meant. He said that, okay, so the Shiri Pinchas says that Shimon Hamatsumi considered the possibility that the et in question might be alluding to the respect for a Torah scholar. He considered that.
Yeah.
But he was troubled by the notion of equating a person with Hashem. Right? Because remember what the pasuk says: you shall respect, you shall revere and fear God. Right? So he had to suspect that this et was connected to respecting a Torah scholar, but obviously there's an issue about equating, God with a person. Okay? After all, Torah scholar is a person. Okay. So now, especially because the et comes before Hashem, right? In the pasuk, it says et Hashem. Right? Right? You follow me, dude? Or are you sleeping already?
No, I'm listening to you.
Now I'm constantly paranoid that you're going to be taken to Freddy Krueger's dream world.
No.
All right. All right? Look what happened to Johnny Depp, man. Come on.
Yes,
Anyway, all right, so
he became. Speaking
he
of which,
became
I got the Jewish Pirates of the Caribbean book. It came
oh
out.
yeah?
I'm gonna read it.
Nice.
Yeah, you can get
Read
it on
it.
Amazon for like $10.
Read it. It is a treasure. Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh, that's fun.
so
I like what
yeah,
you did there.
we're almost done, by the way, with
Okay.
this. Okay, so now you remember the problem, right? The et comes before Hashem. So
Yeah.
if you're going to say that the et is alluding to the fact that we have to revere Torah scholars like we revere God, then it's almost like you're saying that you have to revere the Torah scholar before God.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, right?
Not good.
Okay, so it doesn't. So this does not seem like a very Jewish idea, by the way. Okay. Now, so only Rabbi Akiva had the courage
Mm-hmm.
to actually say that. So, in fact, that is what it meant. Okay, but no, everybody was too humble to admit it, right?
Yeah.
And they're too scared at the implications of it.
Yeah.
But Rabbi Akiva, he said no, that is correct. So only Rabbi Akiva had the courage to do so because Rabbi Akiva was a Gilgal of Yaakov Avinu.
Mm-hmm.
And he remembers what was said, what Hashem called Yaakov.
Yeah.
Hashem called Yaakov El.
Yeah.
El is one of the names of God.
I was gonna say it's a little crazy.
Yeah, but again, he carried the name of God. He was a chariot, a Merkava.
I hear.
Okay, doesn't mean he was God.
Yeah.
Okay, like for instance, Metatron, right? The archangel Metatron.
Yeah.
He carries the name Yud Hey Vav Hey.
Dude, I just realized if you combine the company Meta or Metaverse and the movie Tron, it's kind of crazy.
Meta and Metaverse. I don't follow.
Metaverse, like Meta is the new name of Facebook.
Yeah.
Corporation. Well, it's referring to the Metaverse. The whole like virtual, like Ready Player One. You ever see a movie?
Uh-huh.
It's and then you combine that with Tron, because we spoke about that yesterday.
Oh, Metatron. I see what you're saying now.
Yeah, Metatron. So
what can it mean?
It could mean, honestly, I saw somebody post like they posted just like a whole stream of, all the stuff that's like going on right now in tech. And I was just thinking like, basically, Hashem is letting us get to kind of the brink of emulating him without, I mean, a lot of us are trying to play God. All these captains of industry are trying to play God. So Hashem is letting us get to the kind of the brink with all this AI and metaverse and like the brink, and then I feel like Mashiach is going to come in and be like, okay, everybody out. Okay, that's enough. And just put a pause to all of it.
It's very profound.
I don't know. I was just thinking about that, like, because at the end of the day, all human beings are doing, are just mimicking a creator. All this stuff that we're doing with AI and all that, that's all we're trying to do on a subconscious level.
Well, that's what we're supposed to. Honestly, that is our mission statement.
We're trying to mimic, yeah.
And which is going to be shocking to what I'm about to read.
Yeah.
So listen to this. This is crazy. It's just right into what you just said.
So, yeah, and I feel like, but we're going, we're these people are not realizing what they're doing, so they have to be stopped. Like, we're not going to stop them, clearly. You see, we're trying.
I think
we're
I mean, we have like
we're
depends
sitting
where you're located.
Listen, you and I are sitting right now. I mean, I'm sitting on a Facebook page with 35,000 fans, and only 4 people could see me, which means that I'm being stopped.
Yeah, but that's not. It's okay.
That's just an example.
You don't understand where you're sitting in reality.
No, I get it. I get it.
I don't know. Because whenever you're sitting and learning Torah, you're sitting in the control room of everything.
For sure. What I'm saying is, like, if I want to use this, whatever I'm using, to stop these guys, they've effectively minimized my impact in that respect. They haven't minimized my impact in obviously spreading the word of Hashem, whatever it is, to whoever needs to hear it. But Mashiach's gonna stop them.
It's amazing that like the work of Jewish people, Torah observant Jewish people, putting on tefillin, saying Shema on time, just doing mitzvot, right? It's a very personal thing, and it seems like a little person doing little things, right?
Yeah.
But those are the things. Those are the only things that God cares about.
Yeah.
Everything else functions as a background, as a setting for those things to happen.
Yeah.
And the energy that those things are priming, right? Every time you do a mitzvah, a physical mitzvah, an act, you are priming a certain amount of matter, which all matter is connected to a lot of other matter through quantum entanglement. So the particular physical matter that you are working with and using for godly purposes, you are priming that for its energy to be completely revealed at a very specific moment.
Yeah.
That energy is that light of Tohu.
Yeah.
It's trapped in this matter that we're dealing with here. That's why we're interacting. That's why we have physical bodies and we do mitzvahs with physical objects.
Yeah.
So
makes sense.
Should I continue?
Yes, sir. Keep going.
All right. So now we're talking about Yaakov being called El. God, it says that in the Torah, right in Scripture. God calls Yaakov by his name, El. Okay, so Rabbi Akiva being a Gilgul, a reincarnation of Yaakov, right? He understood this very, very well. That's why he was the only one who was qualified to step forward and tell everybody, no, this is correct. This information that we got from the tradition and from the analysis of the text is correct, even though they were too scared to come forward and say it. Because it happened to him in a previous incarnation when he was Yaakov. Anyway, so now, Gemara Megillah, page 18 on the A side, says, Rabbi Aha said, in the name of Rabbi Eliezer, quote, how do you know that Hashem called Yaakov by the name El? The word El means Almighty, right? That's a word that's termed for God.
Yeah.
So El is considered one of Yaakov's three names.
Yeah.
Right? Because in Parshat Vayishlach, chapter 33, verse 20, quote, and he called him El. Right? That's pretty straightforward, right?
Straight up.
Right. So the word El means Almighty, right?
Yeah.
So El is one of Yaakov's three names. So in Parshat Vayishlach 33:20, and God called him El. And who called Yaakov El? Elokei Yisrael, the God of Israel.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The God of Israel called Yaakov by a name that is only reserved for God. But God has done this a number of times already. He puts his name on somebody, which is, I've heard some rabbis explain that means that he lends his authority. Right? Like Metatron, the angel, has Yud Hey Vav Hey written on him.
Yeah.
So he is an emissary of the Yud Hey Vav Hey ministry, or the department.
Yeah.
You understand? So it's like sending a shliach, right? That messenger, that diplomat, has the stamp of the king on him, and he carries that.
Yeah.
The king says, "I'm giving you the authority," right? Like when Pharaoh gave Joseph the ring, right, and made him the viceroy. This is kind of the idea. It's about lending your authority. So this is really what it's about, but there's a lot more to it. Okay. So God already, so basically, on a certain level, when God called Yaakov by the name El, which means Almighty, which is something that's only reserved for God, right? So God already kind of made that association. Okay? He he made that equation by not by making Yaakov God, God forbid, but by giving Yaakov the authority of that name, El.
Yeah.
Because remember, these names of God, these are formulas. These are connected to Sphirot. These are communication tools that he created to interact with us. They're not his names. God doesn't have a name. He has nothing that can define him.
Yeah.
Okay. Just so we understand what these names really are. Okay. So now that's why. Okay. So Rabbi Shimon, I'm assuming, didn't have to throw away his entire thesis. It was good. He didn't have to, rip out his hair and start over. Now, Bereshit Rabbah, which is a midrash, chapter 79, verse 8. On the same pasuk that we just talked about, it says that after Hashem called Yaakov El, Yaakov said to Hashem, this is going to be a little controversial. It says, "You are God above, and I am God below."
That's weird.
Remember, the word God, see, in English, that's the problem with English translations.
Yeah, once you lose it.
Right. So basically, he said, "You are El above, and I am El below." Meaning, I take the stamp that you give me, your authority,
it's almost like
through the name El.
He should have used the word Adon almost instead of, well, not master, but like, you're the master of the house below, and I'm the master.
Yeah. By the way, we use the word Baal Habayit, right?
Yeah.
Believe it or not, before Baal worship, like the evil pagan god, Baal was actually just one of the appellations for God.
Yeah.
Because Baal means master. That's all it means. It's a very general term. Okay? Whenever somebody's an expert at something, you call him a Baal this. Like, this guy's an expert at, at being a cobbler. He's a Baal cobbler.
Yeah.
It's always, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, of course.
So these words, okay, he gave Yaakov the stamp to be the representative of the Almighty, the word El, okay, on the earth, which means that Yaakov becomes the channel to. The idea is that all human beings are supposed to be El, by the way. Whatever happens to Yaakov is supposed to be every human being.
Yeah.
We're all supposed to be El.
In the words of Rocky, in Rocky 4, мы все можем измениться.
Да.
We can all change.
Да, мы можем.
We can all change.
Он как кусок железа.
It's proof that we can all change. Ура!
Ура, Rocky! Okay, back to the text.
Rocky!
All right. So, now, so this doesn't mean. Okay, so back to the text. So when Yaakov said that he said to God that you are El above, meaning the what that name represents, and I will be your representative of El here below. Okay. Okay, so this doesn't mean that he is a god, but that he represents God in the lower realms. That's what it means. Okay, now let's talk about Rabbi Akiva's 24,000 students. Okay, there are two sources that say that they fit into the story. Okay, number one, the Ramah Mipanoi, in his book Asara Me Amanos, and Gilgule Neshamot. Okay? And then the other one is the Chesed LeAvraham and the Sefer Hadorot. Okay? These are all Kabbalistic books, and these are all students of the Ari, later students. Okay. Now, just like the soul of Rabbi Akiva went into the men of Shechem, Ben Hamor, okay, the 24,000, and there were 24,000 of them, they were all slaughtered by Shimon and Levi. Okay, so the 24,000. After that, they went into the 24,000 men of Shechem. I'm sorry. That seemed confusing. Okay, so So Rabbi Akiva went into the Okay, so the sons of Hamor. Okay, the 24,000 went into the men of Shechem, just like Rabbi Akiva's soul went into Ben Hamor, Shechem Ben Hamor.
Mm-hmm.
His 24,000 students went into the men of Shechem. Okay, there were 24,000 of them.
Yeah.
Okay. And they were all killed by Shimon and Levi. Okay, fine. The verse does not say explicitly that there were 24,000 men who were killed by Shimon and Levi.
Mm-hmm.
But the commentaries make that suggestion. Okay. Now, even though it is not explicit, there is a saying that there is nothing that isn't hinted to in the verse. Okay? In the Hebrew gematria, Aleph is 1.
Yeah.
Okay, but it could also mean 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
The way that the number system works, the digit system, so it starts like this. Aleph is 1.
Yeah.
Bet is 2, Gimel is 3, Dalet is 4, Hey is
Yeah.
5, Vav is 6, Zion is 7,
Yeah.
Het is 8, Tet is 9, Yud is 10.
Yeah.
Okay, now it goes to 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Chaf is 20,
Mm-hmm.
Lamed is 30, Mem is 40, Nun is 50, Samach is 60, Ayin is 70, Pei is 80, Tzadik is 90, Kuf is 100. Okay, and just to finish it off, you got Resh is 200, and Shin is 300, and then finally Tav is 400. Okay, now to go from 400 to 900, we have these letters, which are called the final forms,
Mm-hmm.
the 5 final letters, the Manzapach.
Yeah.
You guys can look it up yourself, okay?
The Nun, the Tzadi.
Right. So I don't recall. So I think that
The Mem,
I think that the Chaf is 500, and
Yeah.
I don't recall
the
which
Fe-
one,
and
but
the
so
Pei-
the Tzaddik
Pei or
is a
Pei.
900.
The Fey or Pei or whatever it is.
Right. So basically, the Tzaddik ends up being 900. Right. So that bridges the gap
Yeah.
from the 400 from Tav to the 900 of the Tzadi Sofit. But what happens? Well, how do you get to 1,000? Well, how do you represent 1,000? Goes back to Aleph. Okay, and it
Yeah.
keeps cycling like that. That's the number system. Okay, so back to the text. So we know that the letter Aleph can be either 1 or 1,000. Okay, depends on the context. Okay. So, and by the way, when you spell the name of the letter Aleph, it's Aleph Lamed Pei, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But when you spell the word Aleph, which means 1,000, it's the same 3 letters.
Yep.
That's another reason why Aleph is representative of 1,000. Okay. As well as 1.
Yeah.
Okay. So, however, the vowels are slightly different. Okay. So anyway, so the gematria, it doesn't stop. Okay, a Tav. Let's see, Tav goes to 900. Okay, then there's 1,000. We said that already. Okay, so in Parshat Vayishlach, if you look at the 5 verses that discuss Shimon and Levi going to kill Shechem and his men, you will find 24 Alephs. So, so you have to look at chapter 24, verses 25 through 29. Okay? And you'll find in those verses that describe Shimon and Levi killing Shechem
Mm-hmm.
and his men,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you'll find 24 Alephs.
Wow.
So that is a remez, an allusion to the 24,000 men. Okay. Now hold on a second. we kind of skipped over the whole Esav thing, didn't we?
Yeah.
So what about Esav? So we know that when Esav encountered Yaakov when they reunited at that fateful moment, he was riding with 400 men.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What happened to where's Esav's 24,000 men? Why it says only 400.
Yeah.
So okay. So this is I believe this is the actual idea from Rabbi Wagensberg
Mm-hmm.
himself.
Yeah.
Okay, because there's no source for this. Every other thing that we talk about has a source. Okay, so we know that Esav, he rode with 400 men, okay, to confront Yaakov. Okay, I have to find the. You know what that means, right? I have to. My stupid notes. Damn
Well,
it.
I'm just letting you know that we're coming up on already. We're
We're,
50 minutes
okay,
plus 50 minutes,
okay.
an hour 40.
All right. Okay, fine. So, right. So in Vayishlach, again, in Vayishlach, in the Parshat Vayishlach, which is Genesis chapter 33, verse 1, it says that he had 400, right? In the Midrash Rabbah, chapter 75, verse 12, it says, Rabbi Yanai says that those were not just 400 soldiers that were with him. They were 400 captains. And each one was in charge of a unit of men. Okay? So the Midrash doesn't say how many each captain had, like how many men are in that unit, right? Okay. But to fit it, right, to make it 24,000, each captain would have had to have 60 men in his unit. So you have 400 captains, right, each with 60 men. That's what it would have to be. Right? So, okay, hold on, 60 men. So we know that Shlomo HaMelech, right? So he had 60 men surrounding his bed at all times. So 60, this is indicative. 60. So Rashi says in Vayishlach on Genesis chapter 33, verse 16, that Esav went to that meeting with Yaakov, and by the end of that meeting, his men had departed. Esav's men had departed. One by one, all his men left. Okay? So they didn't want to be around Esav anymore. How come? Maybe because Esav's angel was defeated by Yaakov, right? Earlier, because Yaakov was wrestling with the angel, okay? Yeah. And so the sparks of the 24,000 jumped into the Men of Shechem, including the spark of Rabbi Akiva that was in Esav too. Okay, so that departed from it. Okay. Now, Shvidi Pinchas says that Shimon and Levi went to Shechem, and they said that if you want our sister Dinah, because if you recall, Shechem, he kidnapped Dinah and raped her. Horror.
Yeah.
Okay. So Shimon and Levi went there. So okay, if you want sister Dinah, then you guys gotta circumcise yourselves. You gotta convert, basically, right? Yeah. Okay. You got to remove the klippah. So whenever we read that story, it's always like they were being clever. They wanted to weaken them because they were trying to kill them. It's not that simple. They were literally trying to elevate them. Because Shimon and Levi understood what was going on. They understood about sparks. They understood about souls. They were privy to the whole thing. They weren't just two regular kids. They were shvatim. Okay? Each one was a spiritual guru, to borrow a term.
Yeah.
Even at that age. Okay, so they needed the Men of Shechem to circumcise themselves to make it easier. So to make it easier for Shimon and Levi to extract the sparks from them. Okay? Now it could have gone, if the Men of Shechem had converted genuinely, then perhaps it could have ended differently. But they continued to conspire and scam. So Shimon and Levi at that point realized that it's not going to work the nice way.
Yeah.
So it was the sparks that influenced all the 24,000 men to circumcise themselves. Because think about it.
Yeah.
Why would these guys do that?
Yeah.
Right? That's painful. Circumcise yourself? All 24,000 men, they did it.
It's crazy.
So that was the influence of the sparks. How otherwise they wouldn't even think about doing that.
Yeah.
Okay? So again, but unfortunately, the influence of the sparks didn't stop the Men of Shechem from, what did they do? They didn't stop them or pull them away from their very evil nature. Okay? Yeah. So they were thinking that by circumcising themselves, one of the benefits is that they can get in good with Yaakov, right? And then profit from this association. Okay? And with treachery.
Yeah.
Okay? They would take they imagined that they would take all of Yaakov's family income, all the women, and rob him of his possessions. That's, typical.
Yeah.
So So the commentator, the Meshech Chachma, says that for this impure motivation, they all deserve the death penalty. Because according to the laws of Noah, and it gets technical, but they were technically Chayav Mita.
Yeah.
Okay? So in Baba Kama, which is another volume of the Talmud, and other Gemaras, there are discussions that nobody is allowed to make a wound on their body.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a pagan ritual.
Yeah.
Okay? So this is included in the no-hide commandments. So we know that the no-hide have fewer commandments, but transgressing them is much stricter. Okay? So the stakes are higher. So for transgressing one of the no-hide commandments, they would get the death penalty for this, but that's technical, legalistic. So getting a Brit and not fully committing to it, right, or not fully converting to Judaism, means that they wounded their bodies in a meaningless way. Okay. Anyway, so the Chedushay Harim, that's another rabbi, says that there's another reason why Shimon and Levi determined that they were Chayav Mita. The Gemara Sanhedrin says that, okay, this is a legalistic thing, and it doesn't really fall. Okay, so now, both Shabbos and Bris are mitzvahs that fall into the Tzedek. Yaakov was upset because he was hoping that the sparks of Rabbi Akiva and the 24,000 would uplift the men of Shechem without killing them. That's why he was upset at Shimon and Levi, not because they ended up doing what they did. He was just disappointed that it didn't work out. If anybody's familiar with the basic story. Now, okay, so after this, the Ramah Mipana says that the soul of Rabbi Akiva and the 24,000 went into Zimri ben Salu, right, in Parshat Pinchas. He was the Nasi of Shimon, okay, and the 24,000 men of Shimon were the 24,000 men who died in that plague. Okay? 24,000 were mentioned in Parshat Balak. Okay? So they were being gilguled into Zimri, okay, and the men of the tribe of Shimon. Okay? And this was meant to be a reward for their attempts and efforts to elevate Esav and Shechem. Okay? Since Shimon was the mastermind of the Shechem incident, he was rewarded by having his soul go into his shevet, into his tribe. However, because the souls spent some time with the lower souls, of the lower aspects of the souls of Esav and Shechem, okay, and their men, some negativity rubbed off on them. Okay? And they were affected negatively by this. And that's what helped them to slip up with the daughters of Midian and Moab. So after Pinchas killed Zimri and the plague killed the 24,000 men of Shimon, they were gilguled again, finally, into Rabbi Akiva and his students. Now the Arizal says in Sefer HaGilgulim that the hint that Rabbi Akiva was a Gilgul of Zimri, because if you take the letters of Zimri ben Salu equals 406, which is also the same gematria as Akiva ben Yosef, which equals 395. Wait, so hold on. No, that was supposed to be kind of like humorous. So Zimri ben Salu equals 406, and Akiva ben Yosef equals 395. Okay, but Akiva ben Yosef has 11 letters. Okay, if you basically, so that's 395 plus 11. That would equal 406. That's when you learn the rules of gematria. There's layers of code that this becomes a little bit more clear. So I'm sorry if this is like a little bit vague to people, or it's not coherent. Anyway, but Akiva ben Yosef has 11 letters, and if you give a point per letter, it equals 406. Fine. So what happened? All these Gilgulim are meant for a zikuch, for a purification. That's what the point of all these Gilgulim is, right? In the Gemara Yevamot, Greg, you sleeping? Greg is sleeping. Greg, I have put Greg to sleep.
I am not sleeping.
Man has fallen asleep.
I'm awake.
Okay. All right. Wake up! Okay, now in
Just so
Gemara
you know,
Yevamot,
I've been taking these like amazing supplements, and one of them is like a bedtime one, and the thing just
in
like.
my day we just called it heroin. All right, but in
Or as
Gemara,
Rabbi Mizrahi would say,
Yeah.
first LeBron James, then heroin. Yeah, did you hear this clip? He's talking about how like kids, he's like, their parents come to me and they say, this is like a real clip. I almost plotzed when I heard this. They say to me, come on. He's like, why are you? They're little kids. They just know because he's like, if you ask little kids today in Mansi, who autograph they want? They want LeBron James or Ralph Steinman. They think a little bit. They hesitate. Then they say, okay, Ralph Steinman. And then the parents come on. Come on, they're little kids. Don't yell at them for LeBron James. They think about LeBron James autograph. And he goes, oh no. First LeBron James, then heroin.
Yep, I agree with him actually.
The funny part is that New York Post had an article 2 years ago how somebody was selling heroin that was called LeBron James. So I'm
He
wondering.
was selling heroin, which
They were
was
selling
called
heroin packets that was called LeBron James. It was here.
Remember Eric Stoltz in Pulp Fiction?
Yeah.
And he was calling each packet of heroin. He goes, "On this one's the Madman."
Yeah. Here, USA Today. Heroin dealer, this is in 2012, caught branding packages with LeBron James' name. It's got a whole, like, LeBron James dunking. A Philadelphia man was arrested Thursday after he sold 140 packets of heroin, printed with a label featuring LeBron James' name to an undercover police officer. Drug dealers often name their product to generate mass appeal, according to my Season 1 DVDs of The Wire. The drug dealer's decision to make LeBron James' decision look genius in comparison. At those prices, Duran Rovell would feel compelled to point out that the undercover officer could have bought 3.2 million packets of LeBron heroin with the NBA star's 2012 salary. What the heck? I don't think LeBron James would be too happy with this drug dealer dude using his name on these street bags. Upper Darby Police Superintendent Michael Chitwood said to the Philadelphia. This is in Philly. It's hilarious. So, Reb Mizrahi was not far off.
Nope. It's kind of like a prophetic type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you know what? Let me paraphrase the rest of this.
Yeah,
okay.
Please.
Okay. So after the tribesmen of Shimon,
Mm-hmm.
when they died from the plague, and Zimri, their prince, was killed at Pinchas.
Yeah.
The next time they reincarnated again was finally in Rabbi Akiva and his 24,000 students.
Yeah.
Okay? And so what's going on? So there are verses that say, let me just read this one, because it's not going to make sense without reading this verse.
Yeah.
Okay? It says, behold, this is in the book of Job, actually. It says in chapter 33, verse 29, it says, behold, God does all these things 2 or 3 times with man. Okay. So Rashi says, yea, 4, I will not return them. For a 4th time, I will not return them. Tikkunei Zohar says on Parshat Mishpatim, on 21, verse 11, it says, if he does not perform these 3 things for her, she will leave free of charge without payment. So the Zohar interprets this as if a person doesn't do his duty after 3 Gilgulim, after 3 reincarnations, then the Gilgulay process is stopped. Then it's on to other methods. Okay? So the men of Shechem is 1. Zimri is 2. Rabbi Akiva and his men and his students are 3.
Yeah.
But hold on. But what about Asa? Right? We started this out with Asa. That's 4, isn't it? No. Asa wasn't a Gilgal. He wasn't a reincarnation. That was the first time.
Yeah.
Okay? So you come the first time, and then you have 2 or 3 chances to get it right again.
Yeah.
Okay, so it seems to be amazingly specific. That quote from Job, chapter 33, verse 29, it says, "Twice or 3 times with man." Okay, so again, so Rashi connects that with Amos, chapter 1, verse 3, where it says, "I will not return them." Okay, so these verses in Job are talking about being chastised for sin.
Yeah.
Okay, with illness. So both of these verses are not only giving us information about the Gilgal process in general, it seems that they to be hinting about Rabbi Akiva and his men, because these are the prime examples of these concepts that are talked about in these verses.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's amazing is that we celebrate a holiday, don't we? When we call it Lag BaOmer.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people understand
It's
what
my favorite
we're
one,
celebrating. What was it?
It's my favorite one, by the way.
Yeah. So do you know the reason why we celebrate it?
I mean, there's a few reasons. I mean, it's
All right, tell me. Just give me one. Give me your favorite one.
Your side of Shem Bayahai, it's when the 24,000 students, Rabbi Akiva stopped dying, and
Right. So
yeah.
Okay. So basically, Rabbi Akiva had 24,000 students, and then we celebrate when they stopped dying.
Mm-hmm.
That means they're all gone. The 24,000 students of Rabbi Akiva were the light of the world. They were the light of Torah. It couldn't be a more darker. When the last one finally died, yay, party time! What the hell are you talking about? That's crazy. Okay, so here's what it really is. This is like I was like jumping around when I was like, holy crap, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, this whole process that we just read about.
Yeah.
Okay. The reason that we are celebrating Lag BaOmer is because the soul of Rabbi Akiva and his 24,000 men finally finished their discipline. They did not have to come back again.
Yeah.
They didn't have to revert to a different method. It was finally finished. Now, you recall what the reason given is, why they died, why the plague ensued? Because they didn't respect each other, right? You remember that?
Yeah. They said Lashon Hara.
No, well, I heard that they didn't stand up for each other. Like, they were all like... So the question is, we're talking about the greatest Torah scholars. How could they behave like this? And here is the reason. They remembered themselves in the incarnations. And they especially remembered the last time they were brought to earth as the men of Shimon, right? Who sinned with the Midianite women, with Baal Peor and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And they remember that, and they're like, they're looking at each other like, ugh, don't remember me, don't try to be Mr. High and Mighty, Mr. Religious. I remember what you did. I did the same thing. All right, Mr. Holy Guy over there. They were very hard on themselves and each other.
That's what people tried to do to me when I started becoming Baal Tshuva. I remember you were eating this and that and the other. I'm just like, okay, and therefore what? People are not capable of.
So what are you trying to say? That time, that I have to quit my job stripping in the evenings? That's not fair.
Exactly.
Right? So basically, that is why we celebrate Lag BaOmer, because this process of reincarnation and rectification finally finished. These souls finally got their rectification. And why is it so? The next question is, why are these souls so important? That is a completely different discussion.
Yeah.
So I don't know how this conversation went or what it's going to sound like to people, but I mean, it's pretty incredible information. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And by the way, the number 17 is almost synonymous with Torah. Okay?
Yeah.
Because, or the will of God, or the commandments. Because in the 17th Parsha, there were, what would happen in the 17th Parsha? Parshas Yitro. That's when the 10 Commandments, that's when the Seret HaDibrot were. Right? That's where we read about.
Yeah.
Okay, and that Parsha has 72 or 70, was it 72 or 73 psukim? 72. 72 is the gematria of chesed. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
No, that is correct. These ideas are connected. 17 is a big number, and it's also connected to Yosef, which that's what I originally wanted to read, because I have a whole thing by Rabbi Ginsburg about Yosef, an entire share about him. But whatever, it's a little chaotic, as long as the information's getting out there.
Yeah.
So I put you to sleep again.
No, it's all good. I'm not asleep at all, actually.
Okay,
but
and I'm proud of that. I'm proud that I put you to sleep.
But I do want to go to sleep.
Listen, remember when I told you about those military guys who were giving testimony about the UFOs that they saw?
Yeah.
Remember how I told you that I know they're telling the truth?
Yeah.
Because they're so boring, right?
If
you're falling asleep, you know you're hearing the truth.
Oh, they're so boring. Yeah, for sure.
Right? They put people to sleep.
Yeah, with their technical terms and this and that and the other.
Yeah.
But you didn't put me to sleep because it wasn't you. It was just it's late and I took this actually incredible supplement, which maybe I shouldn't have. I should have taken it after. So.
Yeah, man, you should have had like an espresso.
Yeah.
Especially when you force this so late on me. This is a form of cruelty.
Huh. Well.
So should we sign off? We didn't talk about poop or boobs or
no,
well, there it is.
No,
actually, we did kind of, right?
Yeah,
we alluded to it.
Yeah, we alluded to it, but yeah, we didn't get into Patrice O'Neal or anything like that.
No, we didn't. No.
It's okay. We can take a night off from that. Tomorrow we can get into that.
Definitely. All right, it's going to be like
18 tomorrow.
Steroids. It comes back roaring, ferociously.
Yes. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Tomorrow will be more Divine Comedy.
Back to Divine Comedy.
With life.
You know what I think? You should change the thumbnail from Dante's.
I will.
Divine Comedy to Emmanuel Bear. You know that actress? Remember that movie, Date with an Angel? It was the first.
Look this up.
It was like one of the first really stupid romantic comedies where she's like an angel.
1 second, let me see.
Beautiful French broad.
Hold on. 1987.
What a year.
We came to America in 1987. Emmanuel Bert, Phoebe Cates, Michael E. Knight. Was this guy supposed to be like the next whatever? This Michael E. Knight guy?
I don't remember the guy in the movie. I just remember.
Kind of didn't really pan out.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories like that.
Oh my God! The budget of this movie was $8 million, and they flopped. The movie completely flopped. It was like horrible. So what was this? So what is this? What's the thing of the movie? It's just an angel or whatever.
No. The point of the movie is that the leading lady in the movie is an angel.
Oh, okay, fine. And
somehow she falls to heaven, and then he dates her. Date with an angel.
Kind of a French smokestack over here.
Yeah. No, she's like famous. You know who she played? She played in the first Mission Impossible movie with Tom Cruise. Mm-hmm. She was John Voight's wife.
Interesting. Emmanuel Bert.
Yeah.
In France.
Pretty girl.
Interesting. Well, yeah, her Egyptian father's family is from Sephardic Jewish Lebanese, and her mother is Croatian Greek Maltese model.
She's not French at all. There's like no French in her whatsoever.
Yeah, even though she was born in Saint-Tropez, but yeah, she's just like Croatian Greek Maltese, and then Lebanese Jew.
This is bullshit.
Her father is a bullshit. He's a Lebanese Jew, so.
Damn, dude.
Interesting.
You know who's like crazy, like this Ava Green, smokestack on top of smokestack. What the hell, man?
Yeah.
Crazy.
But now, whatever. Actually, she's not. No. That movie she was in. Did you see that?
Nah, let's not. I don't want to talk about it.
Whatever. You broke your. What is it? You broke your vessels.
That I didn't even see that. I mean, even the poster from that movie would break my vessel.
The movie I'm talking about. The Dreamers. The Dreamers.
The Dreamers. Yes, right.
They're just like drinking wine.
That movie. Okay, that movie was an excellent example of the stupidity of leftists.
I know.
The destructiveness, the stupidity.
Yeah.
Everything.
They were like, talking about Mao and this and that. Mao, the guy who killed 50 million people. Schmutz.
They love death. They're attracted to that. They love Che. They love Mao. They love Pol Pot.
They claim that they're for life, but no, they're not. They're not. Everything points, even the stuff they're doing now with all this, you know what? Yeah, they're counting the deaths. They're like, yeah.
Dude, they are truly the enemies of life.
I know.
And not just human life.
Yeah. They're like, look how many people dying from this thing. We have to lock ourselves in the
burned
thing.
Australia. Do you recall 2 years ago when Australia burned the whole continent of Australia?
Yeah.
How many billions of animals died?
And stuff, yeah.
And the fucking koalas. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw it.
Bro, я хочу их утопить.
Yeah.
In a bucket. They are the enemies of life. They cause.
Yeah.
They claim to care about the environment.
When you come and you tell them that there's
like
early you know what for the you know what, they're like, no, there's no such thing. There's no such thing. All this stuff is proven to not work. It's for horses. Everything's horses. I just took one yesterday. The horse, supposedly horse thing.
Dude.
Idiots.
Do you know why? Australia was burning? Do you know why California was burning? Because they passed laws that says you can't clear the brush.
Yeah.
They understand what's going to happen. They're doing this on purpose.
Yeah. And then so they can make a
thing
like,
fire.
oh, you see, it's climate change. Bunch of dipshits. Anyway.
They burned the earth.
Well, tomorrow's gonna be fire. Our thing is gonna be fire.
Tomorrow, the episode. What thing?
Yeah, the episode.
Oh, we're gonna have a fire-themed episode.
Or in the words of the plotting clouds from Family Guy, tomorrow we strike. No, I mean it this time. Did you see that part when you wish upon a Weinstein?
No.
He's like, well, look at that. He's like, Peter's like, look at those clouds up there, cat. And then they're plotting to like rain, to bring forth rain. And then he's like, and then there's like two clouds talking. Tomorrow we strike. No, I mean it this time. No, okay, seriously, yeah. You gotta see this.
I didn't see that one.
It was the banned episode, when you wish upon a Weinstein. You know
And this Family Guy?
Yeah. He's like, Peter's like, now my troubles are all through. I have a Jew. So you need a Jewish accountant?
Yeah.
So the accountant just shows up, and then he opens the door, and he sings that song, and then he's like, and then the guy's like, hey! What the hell?
Yeah.
Whatever.
I like American Dad.
It's all right, yeah, with the aliens.
I was more.
That's definitely
they're
preparing us for the whole alien thing. The CIA.
I just think it's funnier.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's an alien or just like Andy Dick as an alien. You know, it's very similar.
He has a leftist daughter, of course.
Oh, I hate her more than anything.
Yeah.
The son is a funny character. The son and his friends are funny.
Yeah.
And the daughter is very annoying.
They always have these, the template. It's I call it a Married with Children template. You have the older daughter who's like dumb as bricks. Like the alpha male, whatever husband, and then this kind of like whatever hootsy tootsie wife. Old daughter who's dumb as bricks, and then you have like this, schlemazel son. Or Family Guy, you have like Chris. And the daughter, and then again like this like garbage pail husband, the remotely attractive wife.
are you talking about? What's her?
I'm
What
saying
Lois is
all the
smoking?
all the shows, you know, like it's the same template of characters, and you know, these like Family Guy, Simpsons.
Even Cleveland wife was hot.
Yeah,
Cleveland.
Loretta.
Loretta.
I went to see. He's like, I went to
That's
see
nasty.
Bring in the Noise, Bring in the Funk. I think they dialed in a lot of the funk. He's like, I enjoyed the noise. He's like, I like the noise, but I think they dialed in a lot of the funk.
Oh my god. Cleveland was a good show too, man.
Yeah.
They
Yeah. He's like, you're dead. He's like, Cleveland? Because he like cheated on her. And the wife's like, Cleveland Brown, you're dead.
he did. He cheated on her in that show.
And that's when she left. And then that's a spinoff. So he's like Cleveland and he's like dating. Or whatever.
All right, that's how it started.
Or he has like a new wife or something like that. Yeah. Loretta leaves him. You know what's messed up? The guy who did his voice is white. And they had to get rid of him.
Right?
They had to get rid of him because of cultural appropriation.
Yeah, but the guy who did the other characters in that show,
Yeah.
you know, the redneck guy with the fat wife,
Yeah.
he was black.
Wait, which redneck guy is that way?
In the Cleveland show, they had a character, one of his friends.
Okay. He was black?
He was like, yeah. He was like, you know, he did the, and he did the redneck dude and Cleveland's son. He did both those voices.
It's terrible. So me doing this voice right now, it's kind of illegal. I'm doing this voice. I should be further shadow banned. I don't think I could be if you know, like it's equivalent of shadow banning me now is the equivalent of like negative interest rates. They can't go lower than 0. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like whatever. Anyway.
You saw that picture I sent you?
Which one?
Where I think it's like Leonardo DiCaprio, where he's saying that like somebody died from COVID, but but it would have been worse.
Oh yeah.
And he not taking it.
Yeah. They're not good. It's just anyway. We should end off on that before we get actually erased.
All right, brother.
Before we get Johnny Mnemonic.
Johnny Mnemonic.
Speaking of Keanu Reeves. Whoa.
Dude, I'd like to point out that Dolph Lundgren was a crazy murdering priest in Johnny Mnemonic. I just wanted to lay that out to the listeners.
I forgot about that, yeah. Interesting. Somebody just tweeted out, now even if you shoot an armed white person in America, you're considered a racist white supremacist.
If you shoot an armed white
this
person,
Rittenhouse thing, he shot white people that were trying to kill him, so they're still calling him a racist, and whatever it is, it's actually.
Why would anybody care anymore? I couldn't give a damn what they think, or their opinions mean so little to me.
Yeah.
The conversation's over. They ended the conversation a long time ago. You know what I mean?
The thing is,
it's bad.
The thing is, this could actually start a, gun grab because it's a precedent.
They're not going to start. First of all, dude, you're not going to start a gun grab anywhere. The places where you can successfully do a gun grab, it was already done. The places that it hasn't been done, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen because they're just going to put up and the government doesn't want that fight. They don't want it.
I'm hoping that they don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. They don't really have anybody to fight it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'd want it. Of course, they'd want it. You know, if their shock troops weren't blue-haired, social justice warriors, then who actually can go door to door, jackbooted thugs, brown shirts, right?
Yeah.
They would send them if they had it. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
That's it. So we ended off in a nice, dark, sour, dystopian note, but it's not really like that.
It's alright. We're preparing people for next.
I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be that bad.
What, for next
I don't think
episode?
it's going to be bad.
So just chill till the next episode.
Yeah. That's a chill song. Somehow that has a certain time. I'm not talking about the words.
Yeah. So no, when I recited the words that I knew when I was 13 years old from watching MTV, my older cousin was like, she thought I was like this goody little kid, and then I did it in front of her because she was into hip hop. She's like, "How do you know the words to this? You're not supposed to know the words to this."
Wait, back up. Who said that to you?
My older cousin at the time. I was like 13 and she was like 17 or 18. So I recited, the whole, this, what's it, Ice Cube. Because some of it's like,
was a good day.
Today was a good, but like some of that stuff was like, and I just did it, Balpé, and she was like, "How do you know the She's like, Balpé. She's like, "You're not supposed to know the words of this thing.
You better check yourself before you wreck yourself, because I'm bad for your health. I'll cover yourself up with bombs on your moms. I kill car alarms."
Yeah. No, so she's like, "You're not supposed to know the words of this song." I'm like, first of all, I'm in junior high school. Second of all, I'm a dude. Third of all, it's a dope song.
I got myself a 40, and I got myself a shorty,
There's
and
no
I'm
more.
about to go get lit.
There's no more of that.
No more Method Man?
No more anything. There's no more anything.
No more 40s and 40s?
I was listening to Snoop Dogg, and he was talking about, on Joe Rogan's show, and he was talking about, the freestyling of Biggie when he was like 17 or something like that. And then he goes, "I know dudes that could still do stuff like that." So I'm thinking to myself, where are they? Like younger guys that are coming up, where are they? Where is any of this? Can you answer me? Where's music? Where it's there?
Not allowed anymore.
No, it's somewhere. It exists somewhere. It's being performed. It's being done, made. Somewhere in, I don't know, a basement. Where? It's being recorded. It's being recorded by somebody somewhere for someone. Just not for us. It's not public consumption.
Maybe they're all hanging out in Elon Musk's Mars base.
It's very strange. Yeah, right? I think we're sending all the good music like to different planets.
It's kind of like Atlas Shrugs. Like all the best people disappearing. They all went to some Atlantis somewhere.
Yeah.
John Galt.
Yeah.
Who is John Galt?
Yeah.
It's Trump.
Exactly. All right, sir. Anyway.
All right. So to Denise and Alexandra, if you're listening, I hope it was useful in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And we live for you.
That's right. All right.
All right.
All right, sir. I'll talk to you.
Okay.
Peace out.